Hi, folks. So, one of the things about living in a world that is not designed for us is that we end up feeling like we have to continually make things okay that really aren't okay. So, here's an example from my week. I'm in a new professional community run by cisgender people, and I had 3 interactions this week with colleagues who, upon learning that I'm trans, had to go to the "so what are you anyway" kind of questions, continually overriding my own self-understanding to fit me into their limited categories, um, assuming that they know better who I am than I do. But you look like a man, so therefore you're really a man. As though I'm just confused about myself, rather than my life is intentionally about doing something different other than being a woman or a man. And so, how many experiences do you have like this every day? Feeling like you always have to try to fit yourself into other people's limited understandings because they just can't get your framework. And, for many of us, this starts really early, this need to accommodate. If you're born into a body or assigned a gender from birth that doesn't suit you, then what do you do? Because as a kid, you just don't really have a lot of power or options. And so as a kid, I learned to make do, to make the best of the cards that I was dealt. And I became really great at accommodating. Whatever came my way, I trained myself to cheerfully adjust myself to make it okay. And especially those of you who are subject to feminine socialization, maybe you can relate to this. And I learned to stay silent about my own suffering. Um, Nobody can understand anyway. And also silent about all of the work that I had to do just to continue surviving, which was really exhausting. And so in my relationships with others, then I could easily see other people's limitations, the ways that they just couldn't stop thinking from a binary framework, for instance, and thus doing violence to my sense of self. And especially their unwillingness to do their own growth work, to bend in my direction, like their defensive insistence that they were seeing and hearing me, even when I felt that they were not. And so I learned that, in order to have intimacy with folks, that I needed to do all of the work to meet them where they were, because I just couldn't realistically ask them to meet me where I was. And so, if we're not careful, then this need to accommodate can become a disempowering and really exhausting habit. We learn that we can't really expect life to offer us what we need. So because that's not even available, then we learn to want less, to tolerate what's on offer. We learn to set our sights low, to expect to be disappointed by life, to feel powerless to change things. And so we cultivate ways to try to make it all feel okay in order to survive. And in fact, over time, I just learned to tune out my own pain in a lot of ways, to not even notice the looks of disapproval that I would receive from people in public spaces, to be unaware of how angry that I felt, to be attentive to my impact on others, but not their impact on me. And it wasn't that hard, truthfully, because I already wasn't living in my body. And so I felt pretty disconnected to begin with. And nobody else was listening to me. And so, why should I listen to myself? And what good would it do to listen to myself anyhow if I couldn't change the world around me to meet my needs? And so I found this to be a common theme among the clients that I work with as well. And so Here are some of the ways that I've seen it play out with my clients. So maybe you're in a relationship, and it could be a romantic relationship, a parental relationship, a professional relationship, and it just keeps overriding your boundaries. But you feel like your efforts to put a stop to it just haven't been very effective. And maybe you don't even feel like you deserve to have your boundaries respected. And so you feel like you just have to put up with how the other person shows up, regardless of how it makes you feel. Or maybe you're in a job that you know is not your life purpose, that you know does not really see or value you, but you feel like it's the best that you can get. And so you stay, even though you know it's not feeding you and maybe is even actively harming you. Or maybe you're just scraping by financially, settling for merely surviving rather than creating the abundant, thriving life that you really long for. And so, what are you making okay that is actually not okay with you? And where are you selling yourself short, feeling like it's the best that you can hope for? And so share with me now if you are watching live, or post something in our group over the next few days. And if you're feeling fed up with living this way, then private message me and let's talk about a strategy for shifting you out of this dynamic, because it doesn't have to be this way. As gender expansive people, we are meant to be creators of our lives, not feeling victimized by other people's limitations. Those of you who follow Abraham Hicks might be familiar with this, but if it feels wrong, then it is wrong. So value yourself enough to listen to your feelings and to take action. So starting tomorrow, what I'd like to try is to dedicate our Fridays to sharing wins. And so post in our group where this week that you did value yourself enough to take action. How did you step out of hiding and share your authentic self? And how did you see yourself as a leader this week? And so I look forward to reading what you have to say. And so have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next video.